Andi McClane wants to fist fight E.L. James in an alley. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that's not mad, it's just disappointed. How are you, honey?
Disappointed.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Disappointed. In what? I don't know.
Not you.
No.
Not you, listener.
No.
Not you, Katie.
No. But in general, there's a general creeping sense of disappointment.
I'll tell you what I'm disappointed in. Specifically, I was going to mention this to you literally as I was setting up for the podcast. I read an article about a retired football player today on The Athletic. And I always they always do a really good job of writing these pieces and they make it interesting, but there's always, it seems like 7 out of every 10 professional athletes, they always have this story my father, it was about Troy Aikman, retired Dallas Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman. And he says, my dad raised me like I was a man from the age of 6. And I'm like, you are damaged and broken.
Yeah.
You are damaged and broken because
I wasn't allowed to have a childhood.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Whenever I read that, whenever I read about anybody who's, it's always somebody, because you're not hearing about people who are raised like that who are not famous. Mm-hmm. But anytime you hear that about a famous and quote unquote successful person, you hear that I was driven to do this, and it's like, how driven could you have been?
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I'm disappointed in. I'm disappointed in generations of toxic masculinity ruining future generations of men.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to do my part to break that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all
right, that's fair. That's fair.
So we're kicking off this episode with a new segment called "What Aren't You Into?"
Yeah, what aren't you into? If we're going to talk about the things that actually bummed us out today. I had a moment today where I realized I had the song Freeze Ray stuck in my head.
Yep.
From Dr. Horrible.
Yep.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Yep.
And I was thinking about that show and how great that final shot is.
Yep.
That final moment and how heartbreaking it is. And then I realized something. Dr. Horrible is not the tragic story of a hero becoming a villain or a villain becoming a villain. It's not even the story of a villain who is trying to earn love and fight against the toxic masculinity in his environment. It's the story of a woman who died because 2 men couldn't stop measuring their dicks against each other.
God. Wow. I just felt so much love and affinity for that show sap from my heart.
I know.
And there wasn't much, it was already a little low because, Joss.
Yeah.
But, if we can we separate the art from the artist in this case?
I don't know. Look, I love Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. I love the music. I love Neil Patrick Harris. I love Nathan Fillion as artists who are not perfect people. Yeah. I don't hold them up as some kind of bastion of goodness. Joss Whedon, though. Yeah. Joss Whedon's really icky. And when you think of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog as Penny's story, it's an incredibly tragic story of a beautiful and hopeful woman who fucking died.
Yep.
Because a guy was stalking her and another guy was trying to get under the first guy's skin by getting with her. Not about her at all.
Wow, we came right out of the gates swinging.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
Swinging our big old depression dicks. Just...
Hi, I'm here to ruin the media you love. Next on the chopping block, Golden Girl. I can't. They'll come from my head.
Oh, you like Golden Girls, do you? Here's why you're wrong.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Look, we're only a couple minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
This is when we just air our grievances. This is when we talk about our kids, talk about our day. Yeah. And so, you know what? This is our 73rd
I think
mainline episode, I believe. One time.
Yeah. One time we just came out with sadness.
Yeah.
You'll get over it.
And here's the thing. We're both extremely happy today.
Yeah, we are. It's been a great day.
It's been an amazing day. But I was going to tell you that, and then you said that, and it just spiraled. So if anybody's to blame here, it's Himbo.
Me. Oh.
His mouth is half open.
Face that he made that you could not see.
His, huh?
totally surf copped us.
He did surf out. Yes, he did. So now that we've depressed see, that's what we have to do. We have to bring you down so we can bring you back up.
Yep. That's how it is.
And we're going to do that with our second week of Sinful September. We are celebrating Sinful Signings 2024, which is just 2 weeks away. Well, 1 week away if you're on the main line, 2 weeks away if you're the Patreon. In Roanoke, Virginia, there are still tickets available, I believe.
General admission tickets still available.
Yes, general admission tickets are still available as of this recording, which
as far
is
as I know.
Saturday, the 7th of September. So... and we are celebrating the authors that will be at Sinful Signings this year. And this week we are
reading Touch Me by Andi McClane. So we love Andi.
We do.
Yes. We only know her as an internet personality
for now
until we meet her in September. But I've been wanting to cover one of her books for a while, and for a long time I didn't, because they are on the longer side and they are on the angstier side. But they're also really, really good. So what better time than Sinful September to finally cover the first book in the Picture This series, Touch Me by Andi McClane, which is available for $3.99 or through Kindle Unlimited, or $15.99 for an Amazon print-on-demand paperback, or I assume copies will be available for you to purchase at Sinful Signings.
Man, I hope so.
I hope so. I'm probably going to spend way too much money there.
Man, I hope not.
I'll do my best. Let's see. I will be seeking a signed copy at Sinful for reasons that I will outline later. Okay. So should we just jump right into our triple T's?
Yes, let's.
All right. For our triggers, we have parental abuse, emotional and neglect, depictions and discussion of mental illness, neurodivergence, sensory pain, etc., sexual abuse in the workplace, brief descriptions of violent crime scenes, and rich people.
Ugh.
My number one trigger. Our tropes this week. This is an FM romance, cis heterosexual, best friend's older brother, it was always you, millionaire romance, incredibly independent woman, found family, and then two tropes that I added special just for this episode. Andi McClane wants to fistfight E.L. James, and third act dumbass.
Now, is it third act dumbass or third act comma? Like third act dumbass?
No.
Third act
Third
dumbass.
act dumbass.
Got it. Just checking.
And our titillations are alpha awakening, sensory play, rough and tumble, baby's first orgasm, not a literal baby, I just like the way it sounded, toys and toy play, and get in the fucking shower, Cassie. Those are our titillations this week. And also, the dedication page is incredible. I'm not going to tell you what it says. I'm just going to tell you to go and read it because it's funny. We don't need to do any backstory. We don't need to do any world building. We're just going to hop right into our real world story this week.
One of the perks of doing books that don't have minotaurs,
elements. Yeah.
aliens, demons.
Yeah, we don't have to do, 2 pages of backstory first. All right, so our FMC this week, her name is Cassie Sinclair. She is strong, very intelligent, very capable, 5'8", slim but soft. She has big green eyes, dark brown hair, and a big bright smile. She takes no shit. She's very good with a joke and a barb. She's my favorite kind of FMC. Also, she is deeply obsessed with all things 80s, and she makes a lot of 80s references throughout the book, and she is always wearing Madonna's face or singing Cyndi Lauper in the kitchen.
Okay.
She loves 80s music. At the start of the book, in the very first chapter, Cassie is 15, and this is just an establishing chapter to sort of give us an idea of where we are starting with the relationships in this book. So Cassie is at her best friend Jess's house, getting ready for dinner after a day of hanging out there and like swimming in her pool and stuff. Cassie's parents are divorced. Her dad was like absentee before the divorce, and then her mom moved them across the country to the West Coast for a fresh start. But by fresh start, she means alcoholism and general neglect of her children.
Well, I mean, everybody starts differently.
I guess. Yeah. Well, some people just never start at all. So her mom sucks, and we never really hear anything more about her for the rest of the book, except that she doesn't show up ever for anything. She has an older sister. Her name is Allie, and they take care of each other. And now that she is older, she spends most of her time at her best friend Jess's house. Jess is one of 3 kids. Her parents are very wealthy, and they have opened their house to Cassie. And she stays there as often as she can. She eats there. They have a pool. She hangs out there all summer. She sleeps there when she can. Generally speaking, just trying to avoid her home as much as possible. So the Lancaster family consists of Mr. Lancaster, who is a lawyer and also an asshole, Dr. Lancaster, who is a dermatologist and also a coward, Jake, who is the oldest brother and the golden boy, Jess, who is the baby sister and the mischievous little baby of my heart. I love her so much. She machinizes in her cute little way. And our MMC, his name is Jace Lancaster, and he is the middle brother. Jace is 6'2" fit. He's got black hair, ice blue eyes. He's very intelligent and book oriented. He loves numbers and figures and math. He's very quiet and reclusive, rarely makes eye contact, bad at conversation, etc.
Okay.
This dinner scene is brutal. I mean, we're just establishing a family dynamic here, which sucks balls. So Mr. Lancaster is a prick about the fact that Jace, who is very intelligent, does not play sports. And Mr. Lancaster thinks that sports are very important and he just needs to give them a chance, being on a team, working together, problem solving. And he won't let up. The entire table eventually is arguing that Jace is fine. He's 17 years old. Mm-hmm. He's going to graduate next year. And he's going to go to law school. He doesn't need to play fucking sports.
No, I mean, there are other teams.
Yeah.
There, like, debate.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other organized. I agree that organized activities can be beneficial, and I think that kids should participate in several, but it doesn't have to be sports.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a 3-sport athlete in high school.
I don't know that Jace ever participated in any group activities, and we will eventually get to the reasons why. But I think the ultimate point of this scene was that Jace is different, and his dad does not and will not accept or understand him. By the end of this scene, Jace is stormed away from the table, and Cassie is convinced from what brief interaction that she had with him at dinner that he absolutely despises her. And so she spends the next several years avoiding him whenever she is around the Lancasters. End of that chapter. We skip 6 years into the future to begin our current story. So Cassie has graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in journalism and a minor in art history because she wants to focus on covering art, like art journalism, which sounds awesome.
Okay. So how much younger is she than Jace? 2 years. Okay. I was trying to put that together.
Yeah. So her next step after her graduation is an internship in San Francisco.
Yes, noted wonderful Northern California city, San Francisco.
Yeah, with an option to bid on a salaried position after the internship is over. So she's really stoked because it's one of those big publication buildings where she will have the opportunity to bid on jobs in multiple different departments for multiple different publications. And one of those is a big art-centered publication, and that's where she wants to end up. She's really, really stoked about all of it. If she can prove herself, she will launch her career at this position. However, there is a slight problem. And the problem is this. In her race to get out of her mother's home and out of college and into an independent life where she didn't have to rely on anybody but herself, she's graduated a semester early and she doesn't have a place to live now.
I thought you were going to say the problem is that print journalism is dead.
Oh, also, yes.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't have a place to live. She's been living in the dorms with Jess. They've also adopted another friend into their group named Emma, I believe. And Ella, who is teaching major. And Cassie has built this really small but loyal family around herself, but none of them can help her in this moment because none of them have a place for her to live. Now, Jess has offered to dip into her trust fund and rent an apartment in San Francisco because the ultimate plan is for her to be in San Francisco next semester anyway. So why doesn't Cassie just move into an apartment now? Cassie is far too proud to ever accept that much financial help from anyone ever. So her first plan of action is she's gonna live with a girl they knew from the dorms named Heather, I think, or Megan or something like that. But then Jess is like, no, don't you remember that everybody on our floor knew what sex noises she made because she's so fucking loud? Do you really want to live with her for the next 6 to 8 weeks? Do you want that for yourself? No. Here's the thing. Jace lives in San Francisco and he has his own place.
How convenient.
I know, right? And he has a spare room and he could probably use the social interaction anyway. So why don't you move in with him instead? And Cassie doesn't want to because she thinks Jace hates her. And Jess tells her, no, I'll talk to him. It'll be just fine. And indeed, he does agree to let Cassie move in with him. So they pack up all of her stuff and they, at the end of that week, prepare to go into San Francisco, which I looked up is about a 45-minute drive from Berkeley, to just see Jace's apartment. Just do a walkthrough. But because Jess is the little trickster that she has already loaded all of Cassie's boxes into the trunk of her car while Cassie was taking a shower. So when they get there, she's like, oh, your stuff's already here. How convenient. You might as well just move right in right now.
And somehow she did not notice that all of her shit was in boxes and also in the back of someone's
it was
car.
already packed up because she was leaving the dorms
that's
anyway.
Okay. Fair. All right.
And she doesn't have much stuff because of her rather impoverished upbringing. She doesn't have a lot of physical objects. So she has her car, which Ella drives up later that night when she comes to a party in San Francisco. And all of her stuff's already there. And initially she's pissed because she feels like she's just being dumped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just here you go, get out of my dorm. And she and Jess have a quick little tiff about it. But Jess basically says, like, I'm worried about him. Nobody should be alone this much. He's too weird. Like, he needs
he's gone feral.
He needs somebody to be around. Please, for the love of fuck, make sure that my brother isn't like hoarding his toenails in a jar in his closet or something weird like that. Like, I don't know. Just can you please make sure my brother's okay? Yeah. Basically,
he's still behaving like it's the pandemic.
It never wasn't the pandemic for Jace. So that's it. She is there. She now lives in this really, really nice apartment with Jace. So we flip to Jace's perspective for the first time around here, and this is where we learn a few things. Number one, he is desperately, deeply, unrequitedly in love with Cassie and has been since she was like 14 and he was like 16.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah. But he has, I will call them issues. We will get into exactly what is going on in Jace's world later. But he has fully convinced himself he can never be with her. Being around her makes him kind of want to die, kind of want to have a stroke, kind of want to scream.
Yeah.
But also she needs a place to live, and he can't stomach the idea of her living anywhere else when he can provide a very safe and comfortable place for her to be right here, even if he wants to rip his face off. So he lets her stay. He gives her a tour. It's a very, very nice. He lives in the penthouse at the top of this apartment building. He has 2 floors. I think it's like 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths. There's a gym upstairs, a full gym, because he is a workout junkie. He works out at least once a day, usually twice. A full kitchen, obviously. An office, a lovely sitting area, and a dark room, because he is a hobby photographer. Hence the Picture This series.
Who still shoots on film, apparently.
Yes, he does often shoot on film. He shoots digital sometimes when he wants to be able to edit, but he prefers to shoot on film because he likes the dark room.
You can just have a dark room. You don't need to like make up a photography hobby as an excuse for a dark room. You can just go sit in the dark, Jace.
I mean, you can, but it's the reason that he picked. So, okay, he loves photography. Just let him love photography.
No, it's totally okay. He's got fuck you money anyway. It doesn't matter.
He does. He does have fuck you money. It's fucking rich people. He is rich. He is a millionaire. We don't really get into it too much, but the man has money, and he has made a life for himself here where he never has to leave his home, ever, if he doesn't want to. He's got a gym. He's got Postmates. He can't really cook. He's got a full kitchen, but he can't really cook. He's got a cleaning service that comes in, or he cleans for himself. he's trapped himself in this place.
Jace is my fucking hero.
I know, right? Well, yeah.
My single hero. Like single Carl hero.
Yeah, for sure. The next few days are sort of like full of just like a general awkwardness. Jace is terrible at communicating, and Cassie is very, very sensitive to any perceived rejection. She almost like she threatens to move out like 3 or 4 times in the first couple of days. Not like, that's not right. Not a threat. She says she's leaving because it's making Jace uncomfortable for her to be here, or it's making Jace unhappy for her to be here. That is the message that she is receiving. So she's like, okay, I'm leaving then because you're not happy that I'm here. It's not a threat. But he convinces her to stay every single time. He eventually ends up begging her to stay, telling her that he needs her help in helping him socialize and become a more human kind of human. And she agrees to help him. Internally, he wants her around even though he can't be with her. And Cassie won't leave even though she doesn't feel wanted here. It's very complicated. This whole situation, I was like, these people need more than I can offer them. I can't. This holy shit, y'all. Anyway, we'll get back to it. So she does agree to stay and to help him. Everything is all very complicated, is what I am saying here. But she does continue to be incredibly horny on Maine for Jace, like all the time. One morning she wakes up from a sex dream and she takes her vibrator into the shower. Her vibrator is named Mr. Shaky, by the way. It's a great name. It is a great name for a vibrator. She takes it to the bathroom to take care of what she needs to take care of. And after her shower, as she's walking out with it like bundled up in all of her stuff, she like runs headlong into him in the hallway and drops all of her shit. So then there's a very awkward moment of Mr. Shaky making a grand appearance in front of Jace. And she's like, oh my God, kill me. Are these windows jump safe? Or can I please just...
I'm going to auto defenestrate.
Yeah, seriously. She was mortified. Jace on the other side of that was like, oh my God. Like I don't think he'd ever even thought so hard about sex in his entire life until up until that point. Let's see. One night they marathon what is clearly Stranger Things and have a very lovely conversation and enjoy like nachos and friendship on the couch. But when they are going to do like a snack reload and go pee and stuff, they decide they want popcorn, and Cassie gets up on a chair to get popcorn off of the top shelf in the pantry. Y'all, chairs are not stools. No. Okay? I know they look kind of like stools, but they're not.
No.
The number of books that I have read that include a woman falling off of a chair because she's trying to get some shit from up high. Everybody needs a freaking step stool.
I'm lucky to be tall.
I am lucky to be tall as well.
But
even there's stuff that I can't reach in this house, and I have a step stool.
Yeah, one of the first things I bought when we moved into this house for almost 5 years ago now was the stepladder that lives right between the fridge and the wall there.
Yep, because that's where we need it the most.
Because if I can't reach it and the only thing I have is a chair, I don't need it.
Yep. Exactly. It's not safe. You're going to fall. Get yourself a step ladder. It's okay if it's not your real ladder. It loves you like a real ladder. Okay.
Yeah. You can just call it Dave. It's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to call it. Never mind. Anyway. So she's up on this chair trying to get popcorn and she falls. And Jace catches her and then immediately throws her to the ground like she is on fire.
Because she is.
Yeah.
She fell so fast
that she's on fire.
She broke into the atmosphere and
how?
ignited.
I don't know. It was like a 2-foot drop.
Yeah.
But
she gained terminal velocity so fast.
Somehow broke the laws of physics. Yeah. Either way. So he catches her, he throws her to the ground, and she's like, what the fuck, Jace? But by the time she even turns around to ask that, he has hightailed it out of the kitchen and into his room, and he stays in his room for 2 days. It's all self-flagellation and pity in Jace's room for 2 days. Jace's room, which does not have a window in it, by the way. And I need to know why the millionaire with the penthouse apartments, probably master bedroom, doesn't have a window in it.
My second bedroom in my apartment because I the first time I moved into my apartment in Boston, I lived in the sunroom and that sucked. But my second bedroom had no windows, but that's because it was a basement apartment,
Yeah.
and I was sharing it with 6 other dudes.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't a millionaire.
my man Jace lives in the penthouse apartment. How does he not have a window in his bedroom? Anyway, I'm not questioning the good architects of Jace's apartment building. Either way, he stays in there until he runs out of protein bars and he has to come out to get something to eat.
It's always the macros that gets him out.
Yeah, right? And Cassie has been cooking for him this entire time. She cooks all of their meals. It's one of the things she does because she feels like she has to earn her keep because she's not paying rent. And so he comes out to find a note on the fridge that says, dinner is on the top shelf, microwave it for 2 minutes. She's still taking care of him even though she's confused and doesn't know what's going on, and he's been ignoring her for 2 days, which is very sweet. Although she did also eat his Postmates because he got Thai food delivered, but she ate it. And good for her, because you know what? Pad Thai is delicious, but especially purloined Pad Thai.
Well, first of all, love the word purloined.
Thank you.
Second of all, I love the idea that he was in his room and ordered Thai, but she had no. So as far as she knows, somebody just delivered Thai food.
Well, so the delivery instructions for the Postmates driver were deliver it to my bedroom door, but he wouldn't do that.
No shit.
But the doorman still brought the food up. So she was like, I thought about bringing it to you, but then I smelled it.
Yeah.
And so I took it back to the kitchen and I ate it.
You know what, Jace? You know what? If you had a window, you could have dropped down like a blanket rope.
I was going to say a basket. Yeah.
Basket, like a pulley.
Yeah.
Just Postmates in here.
If you had a window, they could have used one of those delivery drones to deliver it right through your window.
They could have just thrown the Pad Thai right in.
Pad Thai and cream cheese rolls with plum sauce.
Yep.
That's my order from the Thai place in Flint, Michigan. So he makes this food. He sits down at his counter and he eats it in the dark and quiet, trying to avoid her because it's like the middle of the night. And the whole time he's thinking about her. There's 2 chapters of Jace's internal flagellation. Just 2 chapters. He didn't say anything. He just internally beat himself up for so long. I was like, man, seek professional help. Please, you are not well, and I am concerned about your well-being.
I am concerned.
So anyway, he finishes his meal, and he turns around to go back to his room, and he sees her sitting in the living room staring at him. She's been watching him in the dark this whole time, just waiting for him to notice that she's there. Because she wants to talk to him, but he's been avoiding her, and she knew that eventually he would come out for food. So she's just been waiting. He tries to run away again, but eventually she convinces him to come and talk to her and tell her what the fuck is going on. Because whatever the hell is happening, he's behaving very strangely. And she doesn't understand it. And she can't help him if she doesn't understand what's going on. And so he explains to her that he does not have an official diagnosis, but he believes that he has sensory processing disorder.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Sensory processing disorder is a condition that a lot of different neurodivergent and spectrumed individuals have to some degree or some way. But where I have a mild auditory processing disorder. My ears don't always work. Sometimes they hear things and my brain just doesn't process that.
Can confirm.
Jace has an anxiety and trauma response to physical touch. It's not pain, but his brain sends a danger response whenever he is touched by anyone, including himself. He can't even really touch his own body. He wears long sleeves all the time. He, generally speaking, does not go out in public. He can't handle crowds. He can't handle too many noises. He has trouble making eye contact. He can't follow social cues. I mean, he's a neurospicy baby.
Mm-hmm.
He's a neurospicy baby to some degree. He knows that he is probably on the spectrum. He knows that he probably has sensory processing disorder. He has never sought an official diagnosis or any kind of treatment for that. And okay, here is my main problem.
Uh-oh, she put her phone down.
I never question my authors. I love you all. But I will question your characters until the cows come home. You are a millionaire, sir. You're a millionaire. And you believe that you have a diagnosable condition. And you have confirmed that you know that you are not diagnosed, but you could be. And that you could be seeking help and treatment to make your life and the lives of all of the people that you care about better, because right now what you are doing is alienating everybody that you love and making yourself miserable in the process. And never once did this man think to go to therapy. Why? What the fuck, Jace? What the fuck? I was so mad.
I can tell.
I was so mad. I just want to know why Jace never thought to go to therapy. This man is incredibly intelligent. He's very, very smart. He has a law degree. He passed the bar, but he didn't want to be a lawyer. He doesn't like being a lawyer, but he minored in like 3 other things. And now he trades for his friends. That's all he does. He makes money in trading.
Well, if he goes to therapy, then a lucky woman won't be able to come along and fix him.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. That's
sarcasm, by the way.
It was sarcasm. But it's just like, it was this whole... How can you be so smart and never once think, I should seek professional help for the things that make me miserable? You poor sweet baby. What the fuck, man? I mean, this is what happens when you have abusive parents, I guess. He has found ways of coping on his own in other aspects of his life, like photography, which allows him to observe the world without having to make eye contact with it, right? And to take pictures of things that he needs to analyze in further detail without staring so long that he makes someone uncomfortable. Surfing. He loves surfing because it allows him to feel something against his skin that doesn't hurt. The waves, the water, that doesn't hurt him. So he loves surfing. He also has, over time, worked on the coordination issues that come with sensory processing disorder. He can now run long distances. And again, he can surf. He is doing really well for himself, but he can't handle physical touch. And he knows that he, in the long run, is going to lose out on certain aspects of his life if he just stays locked up in his house all the time. She tells him that she will help him with all of this if that is what he wants, but she is going to lay down a couple of rules. Her only main rule is that he's not allowed to run away and hide in his room anymore when something is wrong, because she can't help him if he's not trying.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are a couple of other rules, but I don't remember what they were. So I suppose they couldn't be that important. And thus, I mean, this begins like the incredibly torturously slow burn romance of Cassie and Jace. They start becoming more familiar with each other, beginning with like, there are just a couple scenes of him getting in her personal space and trying to feel comfortable in that bubble with her so close to him. There is no reason that should have been erotic as it was, Andi. I don't they were just breathing each other's air. Why was one or both of them was about to make a puddle on the floor? Wow. Good for you. Good job. Let's see. As Cassie and Jace continue to try and navigate their problems, Cassie officially begins her internship at the Marshall Building, which is the big publication building that she's going to work in. She makes friends with the 3 other interns who are named Alex, Jen, and Ashley. They are all also very horny on Maine. Most of their conversations are encouraging her to jump her hot roommate's bones. Like once they find out she has the hot roommate, that's all they want for her. That's all they want for themselves.
Guys, you don't understand. I can't.
One of the coworker that's named Ashley is, they call her Smashly because Ashley likes to smash.
Well, good for Ashley.
At this point in the story, Cassie still doesn't think that Jace is interested in her romantically, or at least she doesn't think that it would ever work out. So she keeps telling her coworkers to drop it, leave it alone, stop bothering her about it. At this point in the story, Cassie and Jace welcome my favorite character and yours into their home, Henry, the giant Great Dane, who is obsessed with belly buttons and will not leave you alone until you let him put his nose against your bare belly button.
No.
I loved him.
I hate him.
A weird ass dog. I loved him. So Henry is this big, lazy, sweet, dopey Great Dane who used to belong to like the former super of the building who died, and now he just sort of hops around. He stays with Jace. Sometimes he stays with other people in the building sometimes, but mostly he stays with Jace's college best friend, Max, and Max's cute 5-year-old daughter, Maddie, who are just adorable side characters and fill out Jace's reality for us a little bit more. Whenever Henry is around, he is in like an actual battle of wills with Jace for Cassie's affection and attention. It's hilarious. It's so funny. And Jace is fully like, this fucking dog. I'm like, man, that is a dog. You don't have to be in a battle with a dog.
No, that's a Great Dane. That's a small horse.
Still though.
Yeah.
Still though. Cassie and Jace spend several days sort of tippy-toeing around each other and getting back to a center. They watch Stranger Things and then they move on to Outlander. Cassie gets closer to her friends at work. She goes out for drinks with them one evening where they continue to hype her up to flirt with Jace. Also at this point is where they tell her to look at his crotch when he's wearing gray sweatpants to get a better idea of what's going on down there. Great advice, honestly. I gotta say, great advice. And then we take a quick pause to sprinkle in the beginnings of what is going to be a series-arching storyline. The serial killer known as the Doorman has struck again. This person kills women and then poses them by hanging their bodies in doorways, hence the name. There will be more about him in later books. I am sure of it because it's being built into the story, but that's really all we get in this book. It's just establishing, and really what we get is a pretty decent depiction of what happens to, say, a newsroom when a serial killer strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly everything's in chaos and Cassie's not doing her regular work for several days because there's a shit ton of other stuff to do. Next, there is a series of unfortunate events. So Cassie goes out drinking with Ella and Jess, but she has previously had a fight with Jason. She's not feeling great, and she takes gummies from a pretty girl in the bathroom. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't care how pretty the girl is or how nice the bathroom is.
Yeah. So she has too much to drink, and then she takes these gummies, and Ella and Jess are trying to get her home, and eventually they do get her home, but she takes an Uber who's driving a Vespa, and bad choices. Not making good choices. Cassie, not making good choices.
That's allowed.
I think it is.
Is that allowed?
They call it the scooter Uber. The scoober.
Scoober.
It's a scoober. He's scoobered. She scoobered all the way home with him, and she, at that point, she's like, I just need some dick. So she's tries to take the scuba guy upstairs, but Jace comes down and rescues her from her own bad choices and takes her upstairs where they have like a pretty like decent little fight. Because she's not sober, a lot of her filters come off, and she basically accuses Jace of not wanting to touch her. Like, Jace doesn't want to touch me. It's a whole thing. He gets really mad. So basically, in her inebriated state, Cassie has dumped a bunch of emotional vulnerability all over Jace, and Jace doesn't know how to respond or react to emotional vulnerability. So instead, he locks himself in his room for 2 days because that's what he does. God damn it, man. When he finally does come out, he meets up with her in the hallway, and he finds her like limping because in the process of everything in her jacked up evening, she also ended up like twisting her ankle and her knee. So she's dragging her foot behind her barely. It's been 2 days of her trying to handle all this shit on her own. And I, again, was just like, God damn it, woman, like go to therapy. Be okay with asking for help. Okay. Be okay with asking for help when you need it. Cassie, this is not one-sided. Both of y'all need therapy. Both of y'all need therapy. So they sit down, they have a conversation. They try to work out all of this complicated emotional stuff that's happening. They try to hold hands, and it doesn't go so well because by the end of that, Cassie slaps Jace across the face. I couldn't explain it if I tried as to how we got there from holding hands to slap across the face with it being that hilarious, but it was very funny, and everybody was laughing at the end of it, so it worked out okay. At work, Cassie is working on building inroads with the executives who make hiring decisions in the arts. She writes fluff pieces and crap just to pay the bills and make some kind of money. But she's looking to get her big break. The only problem is standing in the way of that big break is her direct reporting manager, who is a gross Nepo baby named Mark, who on her very first day, the other interns warned her that if she ever got pulled into a room with him by herself, she was to start screaming immediately.
Oh, come on.
He can't be fired because somebody important is his daddy, and he is gross and absolutely abuses his privilege in the workplace. There's more than one occasion in this book where he's like staring directly down Cassie's top or ogling her ass openly and publicly with no shame. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Ugh, so gross. While she is working one day, Jace emails her some photos that he has taken that are really beautiful. And Mark happens to be leering over her shoulder, looking at her tits when she opens those photos, and he sees them and he says, "Oh wow, these are really good. These would be really good in the big nature photography exhibit that we're hosting in the gallery downstairs in the next month or whatever. If you can get this photographer to agree to publish these pictures as the highlight of the exhibit, I will get you the exclusive with him, and that will ensure that you will get a salaried position at the end of your internship." And she thinks about that. She thinks about it for 2.5 seconds. But then when she actually goes to bring it up with Jace, she realizes, no, I cannot be indebted to Mark in any way for any reason.
Yeah.
So I am not asking Jace. No, absolutely not. And on top of that, she is already pretty aware Jace does not want his photography displayed. This is a hobby. It is private. He doesn't want it is all wrapped up in his own feelings, and it is a way that he copes with his stress and his neurodivergence. It is not a thing that he wants displayed. So she shuts Mark down flat, tells him no, and she will find other ways to make her name in this field, but it won't be like that. Jace takes Cassie out to the beach and teaches her the beginnings of how to surf, but he is a, sad, crazy, anxious little ball of muscles and tattoos, because once he takes his shirt off for the first time, Cassie learns he's also covered in tattoos.
How does that work?
Because the pain of tattooing overrides the anxiety response of touch. That's what he says.
Okay. Immediately.
Yeah.
The fuck.
Yeah. Well, I guess it makes a certain amount of sense. If touch is going to affect you like that, you might as well make it hurt.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I was hoping there was some explanation.
Yeah.
And there was.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah.
He takes her out to stand up on the board for the first time, and she does a really good job. She stands up for 2 seconds and then she falls over. But as soon as she falls into the water, he's diving off his board. He takes his ankle strap off even and starts diving, trying to find her. It's deeply insulting to this woman who is perfectly capable of swimming. This was another one of the scenes where I was like, Jace, my guy, fucking get help, because right now you're acting like a 5-year-old fell in the water. And she's not 5. She's 25. She's perfectly capable of taking care of herself.
Yeah. And chances are you did not take her out in a dangerous surf to teach her, so
No.
she's probably okay.
She's fine. But so he goes back to shore, and they're getting ready to leave, and he's so pissy, and she's laughing, and he's like, "I was so irresponsible. I can't believe I brought you out here. I didn't even ask you if you were a strong swimmer." And she's like, "I swam in your fucking in-ground pool from the time I was 11.
You've watched.
What the fuck? What the fuck?" And she's laughing. She's like, "Do not ruin what was a very good day with your broodiness. You are the one who is making this a problem right now. Yeah. I had a great time." It was just a whole thing. It was a whole thing. So the next major scene, we have Cassie gets some recognition at work for her work and rushes home to tell Jace all about it that evening, but she busts into his dark room to tell him that.
Oh no.
And she finds that there are at least a dozen photographs of her hanging up around his dark room from different angles, in different places, different times of day, different outfits.
With foliage around the edges. Almost as if
hiding in the bushes.
Or the cameras have just been hidden in the plants.
Yeah. So this is where she finally really begins to understand. Jace is obsessed with her in a way that doesn't scare her, that is endearing, because he tried to hide it. He didn't want her to know. Like, he wanted to keep this to himself, but she is intrigued by that. And this scene gets very horny very quickly. So it starts with some exploratory touching, where in the past, Jace has always been the one to hold still while Cassie tries to touch him.
Wait. Is he in the dark room?
Yeah.
Okay, you just said she barged into the dark room and sees the pictures. You did not see that Jace was in there. So
I'm sorry.
I was
Jace
like,
is also in that room.
who's she touching? Herself?
No. Jace is also in that room. Then the scene becomes very horny. So in the past, when they have tried exploratory touching of any kind, Jace has been holding still and Cassie has been touching him. And this time, they try it the other way around. Cassie keeps her hands behind her back. She holds perfectly still, and Jace is the one who gets to control. This is how they should have been doing it from the beginning, IMO, in my opinion. They should have been doing it this way from the beginning. So it starts with tentative light touches, and then eventually he leans in and gives her a gentle kiss, and then the kisses become more intense. There's nipple play and breast play. He takes off her shirt and she plays with herself for a little while when she gets too worked up, until eventually he gets the courage to touch her, and he makes her come. But Cassie, when that happens, loses control of her physical choices, and she grabs his wrist trying to keep his hand in place. And when that happens, he immediately pulls away and runs because he has been
touched.
Yeah, sorry. He's been broken out of the experience, and so he runs away. And again, he probably would have stayed in that room again 2-3 days, as long as maybe he's got extra food in there now. Maybe he'll stay even longer.
He built a gym in there too. Fucker's got gyms everywhere.
He's got a gorilla bow, 4 kettlebells.
That's all I need.
One of those little walking pad things. But anyway, so Cassie is like, oh, no, we're not done. Don't run away. We're not over. This is not over. I have an idea. So she goes to his door and she says, hey, have you ever considered that if you're more comfortable in water, maybe we should have been doing this in a bathtub? And he's like, you're a fucking genius. Get in the bathroom. Go. Get in the bathroom. Go. So they go and they get in the bathtub. And first they just sit and they get comfortable in the water. And then eventually she starts touching him, dropping water over his skin so that he can't really tell what's water and what's touch, until eventually she gives him a blowjob. And he loses himself in that. Eventually he's grabbing her hair and like fucking her throat. Everything is amazing, fantastic, great times had by all. And when all of this is finished, this is when we learned that this was Jace's first orgasm of any kind. He's never had one before because he can't even really touch his own body. Mm-hmm. So he's never had one. How nice.
That's unhealthy.
I mean, he must have had some kind of nighttime emissions.
Yeah, something had to happen.
That's a physical response that your body will have. Yeah. But he has never actively participated in seeking his own physical pleasure. And your first time is when the girl of your dreams is sucking your dick in a bathtub.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you get mad because people's lives are too good, right? Like, you're a millionaire in your penthouse apartment getting your perfect blowjob from your perfect girl. It's just like, oh God.
Morning, I was just imagining like going in there like, yes, let's go. And then like it cut to just them standing there.
Just standing in the bathtub.
Waiting for the waiting for the
water to fill up.
Because it's such a large millionaire fuck off bathtub.
It is like a big jetted tub.
And just like,
I don't know how long it took to fill. Although maybe it has one of those really high flow faucets.
Yeah.
Didn't take as long.
He's like, this thing, I don't remember this thing filling up so slow.
While they wait, they play chess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that was a fantastic scene. Baby's first orgasm, so cute, loved it. I loved that scene so much. So then they decide, well, Cassie decides that she's not quite finished yet. And so they go back to Jace's room and they introduced Mr. Shaky into the equation. And Jace learns how to use a vibrator to help Cassie finish again. That was a fantastic scene. Also loved that afterwards the pillow talk was super adorable. They're so cute together. Every single thing they do when everything's going well for Cassie and Jace, they are a delight. They are so fucking cute. That next evening after work, Cassie comes home and they have a really cute like domestic start to their evening. They start making stir fry, but he is like, I can cook. I'm cooking. I'm the one who's making the stir fry. And he keeps asking her what to do next. And she's like, no. You know what you're doing. Let's make this more interesting. And so they end up playing strip stir fry, which is a very silly thing. I love it. It's adorable. Every time he gets something right, she has to take, like, every time he gets the next step right, she has to take a piece of clothing off. Every time he gets the next step wrong, he has to take a piece of clothing off. It's maybe not but if you're going to be naked doing stir fry, that's a high heat environment with lots of sharp objects, but it was still a cute scene.
That's way better than Stir Friday.
Stir Friday. That's actually better.
It's actually better.
They don't actually get to the making of the stir fry before they run back into the bathroom to get in the shower this time and have some more sex about it. So Cassie continues to do an incredible job of guiding Jace through the process of getting comfortable with physical sensation, because it's not like a miracle cure, right? No. He's not just going to suddenly be better because she touched him once. Andi McClane wants to fist fight E.L. James in an alley because that's what happened in 50 Shades of Grey. He had physical touch aversion and he just planted Anastasia's hand on his chest one time and was suddenly well. And that's not how this works.
Is that what that book was about? No, I'm just kidding. I know what the book was about.
You know this because I messaged Andi earlier and was like, hey, how much of this book was just you mad at 50 Shades of Grey? And she was like, the whole thing. It started because of that, and nobody's ever seen that but you. No, the parallels are right there. This is Andi McClane wants to fight E.L. James in an alley. But so in this particular scene, she starts again with the blowjob, and eventually he has turned her around and planted her against the wall. Jace is very controlling and alpha in the bedroom. This is very useful for a couple of reasons. One, he can control exactly where her body goes so that he knows exactly what is and is not going to be touching him at any one time. And two, she fucking loves it. So he ends up bending her over in the shower and just ramming, just rough and tumble ramming into her, and she is screaming for him to go faster, for him to go harder until he is coming in her. And they have ignored the condoms along this process. He bought some. They never made it on his person. So after this is over, he pulls away from her and he like dries off and leaves, and he's super apologetic. He's, I'm so sorry. I was so rough with you. Part of me wanted to run away and part of me just couldn't stop, and that resulted in like this incredible like aggression in my body, and then I didn't use a condom, and I came in to use that condom, and I feel so bad. And she's just like, I'm on the pill.
I was gonna say, I'm on the pill and you've never came until yesterday. Yeah. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, we're probably okay unless you have a blood transfusion history we need to discuss.
Right.
And you've never had any physical contact of any kind, let alone sexual contact.
If there's one person who can get away with that.
Yeah, but he feels bad because of all that. But she's like, I'm on the pill. And he's like, but I was so rough with you. And she was like, I know. It was amazing. Don't you agree?
Did those sounds like those sound like screams of fear?
Yeah. I loved every fucking second of it. You pulling my hair so hard that I saw stars was incredible. And he's like, get in the fucking bathroom, Cassie, we're doing it again. So into the bathroom they go again, and it's fantastic and wonderful. For several weeks they officially declare themselves a couple. They are very happy. They continue to work on their touch desensitization, and they're living in domestic bliss. Everything is going really well. Jace's birthday rolls around, and he initially doesn't want to have any kind of party at all when Jess brings it up. Jess calls Cassie and is like, hey, I want to have a birthday party for my brother. Can you talk to him about it? And he doesn't want to. But Cassie eventually convinces him to at least celebrate with his sister, not his family if he doesn't want his parents there, but his sister. And he says, actually, yeah, you know what? I want to be able to have something I want to be able to do something normal, like have a birthday party in a public space. So why don't we go to this little pub that I like? It's not too far away. I like their food. I've never been there, but I like their food. And on an off day when it's not too busy, have some drinks and actually have a birthday party. And they do. That party ends up being Cassie, Jace, Jess, Ella, and Jace's friend Max at this boxing themed bar called Knockouts. And Jess is absolutely thrilled because Cassie and Jace show up hand in hand. And up until this point, Cassie hasn't actually told Jess that she's banging her brother. And at first she's like, oh no, I think Jess is going to be mad at me. But Jess is like, it fucking took you long enough. I have seen you guys making moony eyes at each other since before either one of you developed big kid parts, you know, like freaking hell. Jesus Christ. They have a really lovely party with a brief interlude wherein Mr. and Dr. Lancaster show up uninvited and unannounced. They give him his gift, and his gift is just a card with the business card from one of Mr. Lancaster's lawyer friends in it, who's got a position at his firm. You know, you really should think about getting yourself a real job. You know, sitting at your computer clickety-clacking away is not a real job.
I do it all the time.
Seriously. But it's just the fact that Jace has a law degree and passed the bar but does not work as a lawyer is, again, another one of the things that Mr. Lancaster has deemed to be not good enough about his son. And Jace is like, I don't need a job. I have a job. And again, his dad is attacking his way of making money. And Max pipes up from the other side of the table and goes, that's really ironic considering that he probably is worth more than you are. And Mr. Lancaster goes, you don't know shit. And Jace goes, no. I do your taxes. I am worth more than you. As of last year, I am worth more than you. And I don't have a job. Like you think I need a job. I trade stocks. I own the building I live in and the building next door. And I collect rent on those as well. We will let it go that he's a landlord. But Mr. Lancaster just leaves in a huff because he's officially been fully castrated by his kid. He's got nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't play sports the way he wanted him to. He went to law school, but he's not a lawyer the way he wanted him to be. And now he's making more money than him, and he's only 25.
Yeah.
Or 27, or however old he is. I don't know.
Go forth and be a success.
Yeah.
Not like
not
that.
Not like that. No, not my ego. So at that point, Dr. Lancaster finally speaks up and tells her husband to just let it fucking go, and they leave. It only took her that many years to do it.
At least 25.
Yeah. Again, remember, in the beginning of this, I introduced Dr. Lancaster as a dermatologist and a coward. She'd never spoke up for her son in all of the years that he lived in her home. Anyway, that night ends wonderfully. They have a fantastic rest of their evening. Jace's birthday is celebrated. He gets presents. He has a great time. They get home. Jace reveals that he's been doing some research on his own. And by research, he means he's been watching some porn and he learned how to eat pussy real good. And she... So in this scene, she argues that, like, you know, not everything you see in porn is realistic. Like, 69ing really is not realistic. If either party is doing their job correctly, the other party cannot reciprocate in kind.
No, I think 69ing is like, you know, going to Canada. Like, everybody should do it once.
Yeah, just to say you did.
Try it.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
Crossing a border.
Cross a border.
Yeah.
All right, you did that.
Exactly. You did it. It's done. It's not that great. But she also says, you know, like, pinning a girl up against a wall and fucking her against the wall like that, like with her arms around your hips or her legs around your hips, that's not that easy because you're, you know, having to focus the whole time on not dropping her and she doesn't feel safe. And so he's like, challenge accepted, and he picks her up and fucks her against the wall. And he is perfectly capable of doing so because, again, he spends hours of his life in the gym. It's how he copes with not actually being able to feel physical sensation from the outside. He just burns his muscles all the time. So he's very, very strong. He's perfectly capable of picking up this average-sized woman and fucking her against a wall. So he does that just fine.
Yeah, I was going to say 5'8" and slim but soft.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still conservatively $150, $160.
Yeah, she can't weigh that much.
Not much.
She can't weigh that much. She can't weigh more than me. That's all I know for sure. And at the end of the scene, she's like, okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
You stand corrected on weak knees.
Yeah, right. They, at the end of this scene, I can't remember if this is the first time they exchanged their I love yous, but there are I love yous at the end of this scene. So they have been emotionally vulnerable with each other. They are now exchanging their I love yous. The next day at work, Cassie is approached by one of the managers from upstairs and is told that everyone is very impressed with the work that she has been doing and the coverage she did on a recent gallery opening, and they would like to offer her a salaried position on the writing staff focusing on art and photography, beginning with a new nature photography gallery opening that they're doing in a few weeks. This would be the gallery opening that Mark tried her to get Jace's photos into. Cassie is stoked. She's so excited. She's worked so hard. All the other interns have been here longer than her, but they aren't working nearly as hard as her, and they recognize that. They're not jealous of her. They're proud of her. She has pushed herself. It's been less than a year, and she has gone from graduating to getting a salaried position on an arts journalism team. That's fantastic. She goes to start working on the exhibit because the first thing they did was email her all of the information for the exhibit. And when she opens her email, she goes, "Oh, no. I gotta go right now." And she packs up and she leaves because the front page of the advertisement for the new nature photography exhibit is Jace's photos, even though she never agreed to share them. And so she leaves hoping that she can catch Jace before he has a chance to find out, so she can explain to him that she had nothing to do with this and they are going to fix it. But he happened to see an advertisement for it while he was out by her building because he took her lunch to work for her that day. She forgot it, and he happened to see an advertisement. And so he already believes that she has betrayed his trust. So by the time she gets home, he is in absolutely no mood to hear it.
He's welded himself into his room.
Swear to God, man. Into the gym.
He's turned his gym into his bedroom.
He would too.
And he's fashioned a 5-gallon bucket with holes in the bottom for a shower. He's got everything he needs.
Yep. He's never leaving that gym again. They'll wall him in. So she comes home and she tries to tell him. He's like, okay, I'll listen. He's not listening. He's not listening. His brain is completely shut off. He is an idiot. I've never, ever in my life read a book that made me want to strangle a main character as much as this one before. Not in my adult life anyway. I've long since lost that young person's sense of justice. Anyway, she tells him that she didn't do this, that some of her coworkers saw those pictures, but she did not agree to publish those pictures. She didn't have anything to do with any of this, but he won't listen to her. He doesn't want to hear it. And when she continues to refuse to leave because he is trying to kick her out, and she refuses to leave, he starts spewing the meanest shit he could possibly say to her. He tells her that she's poor trash, that she's used his family for their money, for their home, for his apartment, now for his dick, and apparently for his photographs, that she is garbage, that she's always been garbage, that the things that came out of this man's mouth, I have no idea how a person as lovely as Jace could ever think to say these things out loud. I was floored. And I honestly, she left. So Cassie left. Duh. And I didn't want to finish the book. I didn't want him to get a happy ever after. I wanted Cassie to go and finish her career and find someone else.
You wanted her to end up with the scuba driver.
I wanted her to end up with the scuba driver. I wanted something else for Cassie besides that at that moment. So like you saw me earlier today, I was using my tablet was reading to me. I was using the reader accessibility mode because I couldn't read it with my own eyeballs. Like I needed the robot lady to read it to me because I couldn't. I was so fucking mad. So that's why I want a signed copy of this book by Andi McClane, because I want her to sign an apology. Not really. I love you. You don't have to apologize for shit. Jace needs to apologize for a lot, though. So Cassie goes to Jess and Ella, which doesn't go super great because initially Jess is on Jace's side. And before Cassie even has a chance to explain that she didn't do anything wrong, Jess is immediately assuming Cassie's wrongdoing. So that puts a little strain on their relationship as well. But ultimately, they talk it out, her and Jess and Ella, and they figure what probably ended up happening was Jace sent those pictures to Cassie's work email. Mark probably had some kind of access to that. And from there, he then used some machinations to track Jace's IP address to get his name, and then used that information to essentially steal his work and put it up in the gallery without his permission. They take care of all of that lickety-split, quick and easy. I mean, that Mark committed crimes. And now Mark's not working there anymore. By the end of this, Mark doesn't work there anymore. And he's in one last scene to be pathetic and drunk and get arrested. Jess is like, well then, okay, we'll explain everything to Jace and it'll be okay. But Cassie's like, no, you don't understand. It's not about him understanding that I didn't betray him. It's about him saying shit to me that he never should have said. And the fact that he said it means that to some degree he must believe it, right? That's her thing. So I'm not going back to him and you can't make me. She ends up moving in with her sister, Allie, who also lives in town, and she throws herself whole ass into working on this gallery opening. They find a new up and coming photographer to feature in the exhibit. She focuses all of her attention on the exclusives with that photographer, getting the gallery opening. I don't know why. She's also involved in like setting up the gallery opening and like knowing where everything goes and stuff, but she's also involved in that. So she is distracting herself, but she's also fully numb. As Jess explains to Jace when she eventually goes to talk to him, Cassie has shut down emotionally. She is nothing but a hollow husk right now, living, eating, sleeping just to work, to continue to pursue a dream that she now only wants to pursue because it's the only thing that's moving her forward. And so Jess goes to Jace's apartment to explain all of that to him and also to scream at him and tell him that what he said to her was inexcusable and unforgivable, and to explain to him what actually happened with his photography and how Mark stole that from him and how Cassie had nothing to do with that. And he's like, oh no, what have I done? I should have done something. And she's like, well, you could have answered your fucking phone 4 days ago and we could have started this a little sooner, dumbass. This again, so she gives him a full verbal lashing for third act dumbass. This man is an idiot. Third act dumbass. So he decides that he's going to try and get her back, and he starts calling her and messaging her. She is screening her calls, ignoring all of his messages. Allie convinces her to at least read his texts, and he's she catches his text messages live while they are coming in, and he is apologizing and telling her that he wants her to come back and he needs her. But one of the things that he says is, I never even slept a whole night through until you were in bed with me. And as much as he probably thinks that is a romantic sentiment, she hears, I want you back because you provide some benefit to my life, not because I like you, but because I sleep better when you're around. And that's good for me as a biohacker or whatever. So she decides to block him instead and just go forward with the gallery and her job and forget any of that existed. We jump forward to that gallery opening. That's where we have a quick meeting with drunk Mark, who gets escorted out by security and arrested for being sort of awful and just a mess. And all of her friends are there for her this opening. This is a huge deal for her, and she walks in to start perusing the space and making sure that everything is where it needs to be, and everything is in the wrong place. All the photos are in the wrong place. The new up-and-comers photos are supposed to be in the main gallery, but they're in the entrance gallery, and these are over here when they're supposed to be over there. And she's freaking out. She finally makes it into the main gallery, and the big main wall attraction is Jace's photographs, the ones that were supposed to be removed. And she's freaking out, thinking, oh my God, I promised him that I would get this taken care of. I promised him that these would not be up on the walls. I can't. She turns around to start crisis management, and she sees that the opposite wall that was behind her when she walked in is covered in photos of her. And they're all Jace's photographs, all the candid shots that he took of her. And they are all named after Cyndi Lauper songs because of her 80s thing. And he is standing in the corner waiting for her to notice him. And he has come here to apologize. He set all of this up.
I thought he was going to go, see, how do you fucking like it?
Right?
I didn't ask you to use these fucking photos. Because that's what I would have done.
Yeah, right? So he apologizes sincerely and quite well, explains that he never should have even assumed that she would do something as nefarious and awful as that, etc., etc. They have a long conversation about it. They kiss. They make up. The gallery opening goes beautifully. And at the end of it, Jess and Jace are standing off to one side while Cassie is working, and she watches as Jess very gently takes care of her brother and makes sure that he feels safe and well the entire time as well, because she can't be the only one to take care of Jess, or can't be the only one to take care of Jace forever. Other people need to be his safe place too. And now he is starting to build those relationships with other people. Isn't that fantastic? And that is the end of the book. There is, however, an epilogue.
Always is.
There always is. And that epilogue is from the perspective of Ella, her friend from college. It is Halloween. Ella and Jess and Jace and Cassie and Max and Allie and Allie's new boyfriend Derek, they're all dressed up as various 1980s film and television characters at Cassie's request. And they're all at Knockout, and they're having a fantastic evening. But Ella is not having such a great time because her family have just threatened to cut her off financially if she continues down her path of becoming an educator. Why? I don't know, but you can find out in the second book, and that one is called See Me, and that one is Ella's book where she gets a job working at Knockout and falls in love with her new boss, Luca. And that was the end of Touch Me by Andi McClane. Thank you so much.
All I can hear is Mallory Archer. If I wanted to sit around all day going nowhere, I'd have become a teacher.
I'm pretty sure that's why. That's why her parents.
Oh,
don't want
yeah,
her to be a
absolutely.
teacher. I think it's because I read the back of the book and it said that she was an heiress. So my guess is that her wealthy mommy and daddy didn't want her to do something so blue collar as, teach.
I was going to say after a certain income threshold, I think that you don't necessarily raise your children with the highest opinion of educators, because why would you?
True.
There's an excellent I cannot remember the guy's name. He's the son of a writer. He is a writer now.
Son of a sailor?
Yeah, something like that. But he was on Neil Brennan's podcast, and he was talking about like the secret, like the ultra rich, the classes that the ultra rich take at Harvard, that like not a lot of people know about because it's just like it's so obscenely wealthy. But it's basically just they're buying the degree, like they have no connection to it or something. It's like, oh, it's a course where they do work for credit, and the work is not. I have to go look it up, but anyway.
Oh yeah, no, it's an entire industry of just like rich people pay other people to write.
Oh yeah,
their cover letters, their resumes, any written work.
Shit, how long ago? It seems so long ago now that there was that scandal with the woman from Full House. And William H. Macy got caught up in that as well, which was kind of a bummer. But the rich kid, the kids of the rich getting into colleges and whatever, which is not a thing that I'm into, but I would like to know what you are into. Since we started the episode with things we are not into, let's finish it with what are you into?
I am into an anime. It is called Re:Zero, RE:0, as in reference to Re:Zero, starting life in another world. It's an isekai, so it's a portal fantasy. A guy named Suru Natsuki just is shopping in the convenience store one day, and when he walks out, he is suddenly in another world, and it is a world full of magic and sorcery and gods and weird shit, and he goes full crazy trying to figure out like what it is that's going to make him special in this world, and along the way nothing goes according to plan. And I watched an episode last night that broke my brain in half, and is probably the reason why I had all of those deep thoughts about Dr. Horrible earlier today. Because in this show, he's doing everything, he's making all of these choices because of his undying and grand love for this main female character, but he just keeps fucking up. And where we may in the past have been led to believe that that is an endearing quality, she is like, you have to stop doing this. You are ruining my life and my reputation. You have to leave me alone. And I was like, hey, yeah.
Wait a second.
That I am not at all perfect by any means, and about once a day I have to confront and deconstruct some kind of social thing that I thought was a truth that turns out to be bullshit.
Yeah.
And today and yesterday and over the last few days, it has been really confronting the reality of how much of storytelling is centered around men screwing up and women finding it endearing and or lovable.
Yeah.
But why?
That's why, and spoilers for a 16-year-old video game. But that's why the video game Braid was so so mind-breaking for so many people, because in the game it's a platformer that has a really fun time mechanic where you can rewind time, and you're constantly chasing this princess and people are constantly stealing her away from you. And then when you finish the game, it's revealed that you're actually, like, they're protecting her.
You've been repeatedly kidnapping her over and over again.
You've been trying to get her. You're the bad guy.
Yeah, you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy. Yeah. So, Re:Zero, starting life in another world. I'm only halfway through season 1, I think, and it is really, really good. I have literally no idea where it's going, and it's doing one of my favorite. It's doing one of my favorite things. I am not that into anime yet. I don't know that much about the worlds of anime and the tropes and the expectations and realities of it. So a lot of it is just like really fucking weird, and I'm having to figure out what about it is specifically weird and what about it is just something I don't understand yet. And that's one of my favorite ways to experience media, is to like immerse myself in it. Mm-hmm. I'm just loving it. I'm having a great time, and it's a really fantastic show. That's what I'm into. What are you into?
I am into. I'm into a lot of things as always, and I've been sitting over here vacillating back and forth between what I was going to say. And since you said a TV show, I'll save the TV show that I was into for another time. And I will tell you that I am into the performance style of Leo Pellegrino, aka Leo P. I have been revisiting the work of Leo P. Over the last couple of days. You do not Lucky Chops, too many zoos, too sexy, but he's the pink-haired baritone saxophone player from
yeah, that guy.
Yes.
Incredible performer.
An amazing performer. He's fantastic. You know, he takes a baritone saxophone and takes it to places that nobody should be taking a baritone saxophone. I'm going to put together just like a short playlist on YouTube of some of my favorite work that he's done.
Yeah.
But it's going to lead off with the George Collier video that has the notation under the start of the BBC Proms 2017 performance, which is the first time I saw him. Because I love the George Collier videos. And the notation, which the notation is, the musical part of the notation is accurate. But what's fun is the commentary that they put, you know, underneath it that makes it really funny. Like the part where it says donkey noise ensues. So I'm going to put together a couple videos that feature his work in his various bands and whatnot. But I'm into the work of Leo Pellegrino.
Fantastic. Thank you. I do love him. Fantastic performer. So much energy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You have to at least watch that. I'm going to put the BBC Proms 2017 video at the front of the list.
Hell yeah.
You have to at least watch that.
Yes, you do.
What do we have on deck for next week?
Next week, I am reading. I'm so excited for this. I am reading Little Red and Her Creatures of Chaos by Ames Mills. Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I am excited to see why you're so excited. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, fucking do it already. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. In the show notes is a link to our link tree at the top. Once this show hits the main feed, it will be a link to this week's book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for it. We are just trying to help the author out. If you would like to support us financially, you can do so for $1 a month at Patreon, like these fine folks have: Vincent Sultanfuss, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
The energy has left the room. Goodbye.